Welcome everybody to the Tuesday, May 28th, 2024 regular trustee meeting. Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. Anybody need to add anything?
Yes, please. Just an executive session for
Executive.
personnel.
Personnel?
Yep, multi-month. No action necessary after it either.
Do you want to do that before or after?
After.
Public comment. Number 2.
I know that with the bridge work coming up, Marilyn from Scampers had mentioned wanting to know who owns the building right there on the corner across the bridge, North and South River Street. And possibly, so if anybody knows who owns that, she'd like to talk to them about maybe getting some business signs for the businesses that are on the other side of the bridge that'll be missed. Maybe up in the window, because you've seen political signs before and all that stuff, so I don't know if.
Oh, that corner.
Isn't that?
Yeah, that corner,
I think it's tied.
it's somebody's personal home,
Yeah.
somebody personally owns it, but
Yeah.
like, looking for connections, if
So
anybody knows anybody and that owns it, and who we talk to, and.
are you talking about having
Yeah,
some,
that'd be awesome.
something
Having, like some business signs for all the, like the
for the
new
businesses
businesses.
downtown?
Yeah,
I already got that covered. I'm proposing something and bringing it up, in item 12.
okay,
Okay.
Nice to be one step ahead, isn't
right?
There you go. Is that all for public comment? Anybody out there in the internet? Okay. Number 5, approve and accept minutes from Monday, May 13th, 2024. Meeting as presented.
it? I make the motion that we approve the minutes from Monday, May 13th, 2024 as presented.
I have seconded that. A motion has been made and seconded, and any discussion?
Good job as usual.
Good job. Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Or nay. Okay, motion carried unanimously. Number 6, approve and accept village warrants through Thursday, May 23rd, 2020.
I make a motion to approve and accept the warrants through Thursday, May 23rd, 2024.
And I'll second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Again, pretty straightforward.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Number 7, Swanton Village Police Department update with Chief Matt Sullivan.
All right, you will find 2 packets of information in front of you for the month of April. We'll start with the village. The village had 172 incidents. The top 10 incident types were 23 suspicious, 18 direct patrol, 14 community outreach, 13 traffic stops, 10 citizen assists, 8 unlawful mischief, 7 threatening, 5 citizen disputes, 5 animal problems, and 5 trespass issues. You'll notice, I noticed an error with an issue with the traffic stops. There were 13 traffic stops, and on your sheet, you'll see 2 tickets and 10 warnings, so that doesn't add up. I was able to find that one of our part-time officers stopped an individual in a rental car from the UK, and it looks like he didn't entirely complete the fields, and hence why when I pulled the data, it was 1 short, but it looks like he most likely issued that operator a warning. So hence the discrepancy there. There were 3 arrest charges for 3 individuals. And then there's on the back side of the arrest pages, you'll see a traffic data dive. It's that time of year again where we've had the speed trailer out, which is a great tool for us so we can get real data as to speed-related issues in different areas of the village and the town. So we had the speed trailer out on St. Albans Road by the stump dump from April 12th until April 30th. And there was some concerning data related to speed there. The speed trailer measured 41,338 vehicles. 35,890 vehicles were above the speed limit of 40 miles per hour in that area. 27,809 vehicles, or 67% of the total vehicles measured, were within 41 to 50 miles per hour. So that's generally within the realm of error there, that 10 mile per hour buffer. 7,587 vehicles, or 18% of the total, or 51 to 60 miles per hour. And the town was also concerned, so this is technically in the town in that area. So during contract hours, 2,402 vehicles of that 7,587 vehicles were measured within that speed range, which is 32%, which makes sense. Roughly a third of the vehicles measured were within contract hours. And then 61 to 70 miles per hour, you had 453 vehicles, which is 1.1% of the total vehicles measured. And so that's pretty extreme speeding right in that area of the 453 vehicles. And again, you can see 146 of those, or 32%, were within contract hours. And then even more concerning still, but a smaller number, 0.09% of the total, or 37 vehicles, were measured at 71 to 80 miles per hour, 12 of those within the contract hours. And then 4 vehicles at 81 to 90 miles per hour, or 0.0097% of the total vehicles measured. And those were all within the contract hours. There were 2 at 1,600 hours, there was 1 at 2,000 hours, and 1 at 2,300 hours measured for the 4 total within that speed range. My guess is to reach that speed there, as you're coming into that at the S kind of turn, you're most likely measuring a motorcycle.
Can you tell if it's a motorcycle or?
It doesn't differentiate because it's a radar unit, so it's a cone, so it's picking up just the greatest speed that it's picking up within that cone. But still, there's some issues there. So I've asked the officers to get out there right away at 1,600 and try to engage in some traffic enforcement. And you'll see in the following pages, actually, I included the speed trailer data. So it gives these graphic displays of showing you kind of the vehicles and at the speeds is the first one. So it gives you an idea as to the frequency of the speed, and then it gets into times, which is really helpful also. So you'll see that the majority of speeding is occurring during commuting hours and during the day, and then it drops off considerably at night. But it's a great tool as far as looking at that data. We then placed the speed trailer on Grand Avenue within the village, fairly high up on Grand Avenue, so it's a 30 mile per hour zone there. And that was from April 30th until May 14th. And we measured 31,860 vehicles, with the majority of traffic flow again between 0600 and 1800 hours, or 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 20,358 vehicles were above the speed limit of 30 miles per hour, but again, the majority of those vehicles, 19,086, or 60% of the total, were in the 31 to 40 mile per hour range, which is pretty acceptable. And then there were 1,220 vehicles, or 3.8% of the total, at 41 to 50. So now you're getting pretty fast there with those numbers. 30 vehicles at 51 to 60, which is very extreme for that deep in the village. And then 2 vehicles at 61 to 70, and 17 vehicles at 71 to 80 miles per hour, 0.053% of the total measured, and 3 vehicles at 81 to 90. Now, the interesting thing is, and I discussed this with Officer Gilbert, is I almost feel like there are some anomalies occurring here, because I'm not sure if the radar unit can pick up other objects that may pass through the radar cone. because I wanna say that those 81 to 90 mile per hour speeds were picked up midday. So I would expect that we would receive calls if a vehicle was traveling through Grand Avenue, midday at 81 to 90 miles per hour. So there may be some anomalies here, and I can tell you that we've been focusing on Grand Avenue with the additional services that we've included in the town contract, getting out there during school hours. And I've personally been out there multiple times measuring the speed of the LiDAR unit, and I haven't really measured any extreme speeds at all. The majority of them have been right within the margin of error of 10 miles per hour within the speed limit. Majority of people traveling no more than 40 miles per hour through that area at that time. And I'm generally monitoring. I was a little further south at Bushy Street intersection. So to give you some idea where I was.
This trailer though was just a little bit north of Lake, was it not?
Yeah, it was probably, I don't know, maybe 150, 200 yards further north
That's what I thought.
from the Bushy Street intersection. But it's a good idea of data. I mean, it was, I think generally speaking, the speeds were a little more acceptable, other than the anomalies and the outliers there. And I want to say that that speed trailer data is also attached on the back of this printout. You know, again, giving you graphs, so you have the view of the quantitative view there of numbers, and then it's very helpful again where it gives you the numbers related to the time that the speeding is occurring, so we can try to target enforcement in the area to try to pick up some of these higher speeds. But it is somewhat an issue of capacity depending on what our calls are, and what officers are doing at a given time. But the graphic view is very helpful. And then there was an issue that was brought to our attention. I know there was somebody had asked for the speed trailer down on South River Street. We have not put it down there yet, but I included the historical data because we had the speed trailer down there last year. And so in 2023, in August 13th to August 22nd, we measured 8,599 vehicles with the majority of traffic between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 3,845 vehicles were above the speed limit of 40 miles per hour. 115 vehicles from 0 to 10 miles per hour, which is pretty slow, but 315 vehicles at 11 to 20 miles per hour, 3.75% of the total. 619 at 21 to 30 miles per hour, 7.2% of the total. And then you can imagine that the majority or a large portion of the vehicles, 43% of the total 3,700 vehicles, were in the 31 to 40 mile per hour range, or 40 mile per hour range. And then the
That's
other
over,
large,
right?
huh?
That's 31 to 40 over the
No,
regular
that's the
speed.
total
No,
speed.
that's within, that's actual
Between-
speed.
I think
Oh, okay.
that's-
Yeah,
that
that's between
doesn't,
31 and 40
it's-
miles
looks
per
like
hour.
it's a
You
different
understand?
standard.
Yeah.
So 38,000,
So that's acceptable, but the
38,500
next
were above the
page-
speed limit.
This is
Correct.
where it's like excessive,
Correct.
extreme.
So 115 were 0 to 10 above.
Yep.
That's what it looks like.
No, that was raw data.
That's raw data.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just,
because if you
that's
look-
the speed.
That's
between
the actual speed that they were measured at. I mean, there was no issue last year, essentially, when we had the speed trailer out on South
So
River.
this shows that 0 vehicles were speeding over 40 miles an hour.
No, you've
No,
got,
it
you
does not, 'cause if you go to the next page,
41%.
there's one more page.
That's 41%.
So you do have
All right.
some, there were some
There we go.
over, so.
Thank you.
So 3,543 vehicles were over the limit, again, within that buffer zone of 10 miles per hour, 41% of the total. Right, but the majority of vehicles captured, right, the 3,000 within the speed limit or below the speed limit, and then
It depends
3,543,
on where they are. but
10
yeah.
above. And so you had a very small percentage
Acceptable.
at extreme speeds on South River last year. 272 vehicles at 51 to 60 miles per hour, or 3.2%. 29 vehicles at 61 to 70 miles per hour, or 0.34% of the total measured, and 1 vehicle at 81 to 90 miles per hour at 0.012% of the total. So again, but we'll get the speed trailer out there again this year and see what we get for numbers. But it was encouraging data last year.
So it's a side note, and it's a future discussion, but during the bridge closure, we want that thing in a different spot in that detour for all 20 days. We want to move it around, we want that speed card out every single day in that 6 mile, 5 mile.
Yeah, so I mean, it certainly, you can spend some time mulling over these graphs and data, and I certainly spent some time looking at it, looking at times a day where you're getting speeding. And again, it is a very helpful tool for us to try to target enforcement and address the speeding issue in general. And then the last thing I have attached to your printout is it's a press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office regarding the homicide that we had on First Street back in February of 2022. So they put this out on May 7th, this press release, and it essentially says Dominic Troop, 37 of Colchester, Vermont, was convicted following a 6-day jury trial in the United States District Court in Rutland of drug, gun, and robbery offenses. Troop, who was arrested in September of 2022, remains in custody of the United States Marshal Service pending post-trial proceedings. And according to court records, the evidence presented at trial, by at least July of 2021, Troop was a source of cocaine base, also known as crack cocaine, to residents of Swanton, Vermont, with whom he conspired to distribute the drug. During the second half of 2021, Troop maintained a consistent crack cocaine distribution operation in the Swanton area. In January of 2022, however, a rival distributor of crack cocaine moved into the residence of 45 First Street in Swanton, resulting in a significant diminution in Troop's sales. To address this problem, 2 of Troop's Swanton-based redistributors came up with the idea to rob the rival drug dealer of his drugs and money. When Troop learned of this idea, he turned it into a reality. Trial evidence showed that during the early morning of February 2nd, 2022, Troop employed one of his Swanton-based distributors as well as another of Troop's associates to attempt the robbery at 45 First Street. Troop supplied a firearm to one of the robbers to use during the crime. Tragically, during the attempted armed robbery, Elijah Oliver, 2022, of Massachusetts, was shot twice and killed. So that essentially sums up what occurred at trial, that Dominic Troop was convicted. He was the ringleader of this base cocaine distribution operation in Swanton. Moving on to the town and the village data. Swanton Village Police Department responded to 270 incidents in total. Of those, there were 82 directed patrols, there were 31 suspicious circumstances, 31 traffic stops, 20 community outreach, 15 motor vehicle complaints, 11 citizen assists, 10 agency assists, 10 unlawful mischief, 9 welfare checks, and 9 threatening. There were, out of those 31 traffic stops, there were 8 tickets issued, 27 warnings, and there were 6 arrest charges representing 6 individuals. There were also 15.25 hours of additional services rendered for the town, and you'll see a printout of those specific incidents attached to the back of this printout. The new contract calls for 2 hours a week of additional services. And again, we're targeting traffic enforcement during school hours. And we're doing different things. We're out on, for example, Grand Avenue a lot. We've been up by the high school monitoring traffic. We've also followed school buses to see if we can basically locate any issues related to people attempting to pass school buses and that sort of thing, or operating erratically around school buses as they deliver kids home, both in the village and the town. So that's primarily what we've been doing. The other thing is that I'd like to point out for the general public is that, of course, with the spring and summer here, ATVs are becoming an issue again. One thing that I would like to point out is that although the town passed an ordinance to allow operation of ATV on town roads only, not on state highways, they are not permitted on state highways. Examples are Route 78, Route 7, and Route 36, where ATVs cannot be operated. We do not allow ATVs to be operated within the village. So it is a problem that we will address. We've addressed it over the years since I've been here, where we will issue tickets to ATV operators operating within the village.
This last page, chief, is that the additional services? Is this a?
Yeah, so those are the
instance
incidents themselves, and then I believe there's a pie chart on the page before
before,
that
yeah.
showing.
Okay, I was just checking. Thanks, chief.
There are a lot of incidents in the town.
Yeah. Well, this is town and village together?
Yes, it's town and village together combined, so you get to see the total activities.
There's still
Yeah.
half of them almost. Well, 100 of them.
So I think they're half,
100 out
10
of
hours
270.
versus 20 hours.
Yeah, should be a third.
Faybury
So we'll
show.
go to that.
Faybury show. Yeah, that's right. Right, Faybury show.
Any call outs other than, maybe drug related or? No.
I mean, the drug issue is a constant issue that we deal with, so, we have been making progress, addressing the drug issue, we're staying on top of it. I believe some of it has been displaced into other areas because some of the people who were part of the drug distribution problem, have been displaced from their residences. And so it's moving around, but we're staying on top of it. And so we'll continue to address it as vigorously as we can. Again, looking to try to help people out
Right, exactly.
primarily, but
Right.
if they don't seek the help,
Yeah.
and they pretty much know, I mean, they know the officers, we have enough contact with the players involved that they're very familiar with our officers and we're familiar with them.
Yeah.
So we offer them services or try to link them with
We
wraparound
give them
services.
two options.
Yes, and they're aware that we're gonna continue to address the problem, as vigorously as possible.
Good. Thank
Would
you.
you like to announce the official first day of your newest employee today?
Yes, so our newest employee, Ashley Chevalier, our administrative assistant, started today, was her first day.
Nice.
So a lot of training with the new CAD RMS system, but that should be a great help for us.
Awesome.
And hopefully enhance our ability to again, in regard to transparency with the public, as far as putting information out,
Yep.
that will be one of our primary tasks, so we're looking forward to having her on board.
That's awesome.
Welcome, Ashley. We're still looking for it.
We are looking for another officer, which would be very helpful. So I wanna say I worked Saturday and I got called out. And then I got called out Saturday night, later, and then I got called in Sunday morning.
Oh, no.
So, I was here all weekend.
There's a crowd graduating on the 31st, and I want you to know that St. Albans PD has been trying to poach people for you. So they've been actively trying to do that.
Oh, yeah?
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Any other questions?
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Chief, appreciate it.
Good evening, Chief.
Take it easy, man.
Great. All right.
Number 8, discussion on 124 First Street property. Some news.
All right, so I added this to the list just because there was some concerns about where the funds have come from, where the money was spent, why the sitting board at the time didn't ask the input of residents into how the ARPA funds were spent. And so I thought I would bring this here tonight so that we could discuss, briefly, how decisions were made, obviously before I got here, but how decisions were made by the city board at that time.
And to clarify, I do have a handout of
Oh.
the expenses.
Oh, it's been
And all of these expenses have been actually talked about in public session. So the contracts for Weed and Lampier, the contracts for REARC, the purchase of the building have been talked about on the record. So these have been disclosed. But I think Trustee Keller is talking about the process that preceded.
The process that preceded that, so, there was, I believe the town, and Swanton speaks this better than I can, but the town asked for input, on how the ARPA money was spent, and I don't believe that was mandated, but it was, how did Vermont leaves a city and town, highly encouraged, I think is what they said. And so I believe that the town asked their constituents, hey, what do you want us to do with the money? And then that was not something that took place here in the village, and I think that was a question that people had out in is why didn't the village ask?
I can,
absolutely.
so whether it was required or encouraged, for towns, municipalities to have the community meeting, asking about ARPA funds, the town held their community meeting, and then I was on Zoom asking the village when they were gonna have their ARPA meeting. Mr. Leach said, oh, they already had theirs, was confused, thinking that was like a one thing town. Somebody corrected him, I think it was Reg, said that no, we have to have our own, because you get your own separate money and it's separate from the town. Then the town, or the village here, held an ARPA meeting, and the community came forward and said what they wanted, you know, the money to go towards in the community, because the money was meant to help, you know, offset, you know, the damages of COVID and everybody being, you know, locked inside and, you know, the missing parts, and it could also be used for infrastructure and other things like that, but that's what it was. They wanted, I don't know if there's a difference, because in the town, they're allowed to buy land, or they're not allowed to like buy the land without a vote. So I don't know if it was more like held to like, you definitely had to like say, you know, do what the town residents wanted you to do with the ARPA money, because, you know, it's money that came to the town for the people. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Like, and the village
That's
basically
different
then
spending.
had their meeting, and then they spent $400,000 of the ARPA money on the 124 First Street property purchase. And that's what it was. It wasn't a requirement, for them to all get a vote. Nothing went to vote, it's just that the town held their meeting, public came in, they said they wanted to see a community center and something like that, so $600,000, half of the ARPA money was put aside.
Yeah.
And now that is, you know, on the shelf again, like many other projects, overshadowed by the public safety building, overshadowed by the state taxes with the school taxes and all that stuff, and I'm not sure where that's sitting, I can't speak for the town or whatnot, but for right now, it didn't go to vote in March for the public to vote on the community center. Yeah, I think it's more so goes along with what the public's saying is, you know, the village is allowed to purchase property without, you know, the voter consent to do so, unlike the town, and there's a variation there. And I personally would have liked the $400,000 to go towards a combined cooperation with a community center, because I know we have a town municipality and a village municipality, but we're all Swanton, you know, and a community center, I think, would go a lot further, you know, to helping the community and catching them young. I mean, isn't that a part of SEP's Swanton Enhancement Project focus was, you know, youth and, positive forward motion, you know, and getting the youth before they become the problem, or these places that are hosting drug houses and et cetera, you know, and I just, you know, that's a lot of what it was, and I think, it boils down to people being upset that, you know, the village is able to purchase property without voter consent, and I don't know if that's something that's within your charter, and I guess the questions that are probably being asked is, you know, is that something that can change due to a vote? Because it sounds like that's what the people would like, is, you know, purchases of properties to then be through voter consent and not just village.
That would have to go to the Vermont legislature.
I didn't hear that.
To change your charter, that would have to go to the Vermont legislature.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Would they have to do like a petition to be
So the
put on
village
the?
would draft a charter with changes, they would use their attorney to draft changes. Then they present it to the state legislature, the assembly votes on it, and either approves those requested changes or denies. If it's approved, then the village would have to have a vote, and village residents would then vote on whether or not to change,
The charter,
approve those changes.
gotcha.
So the legislature approves it, and then the voters will approve it. That's the process to change your charter.
So
Thank you.
You've been through this before.
We've done it.
How long a process
It's
is
very
that?
long, about a year or so, year and a half. You have to,
Oh, so you have to go to the legislature?
so first you'd work with your attorney to draft your changes that you're requesting. And then that would then be presented to the state for them to vote on. And then however that goes, say they approve it, then it goes before the village voters.
Do you know if, when the charter was originally adapted, if that was like automatically like put in there?
So that charter's going from 1888, I don't know when that was put in, but the last change the village did was in 2009. We had a charter change. And it's a long process, but something you as a board would decide to,
Yeah.
if you wanted to do that.
Well, and I'm just trying to think back, and, at the time that we got our ARPA funds, Reg had put a spreadsheet together of all the things that needed to be done. The bridge repair was on there, the bridge replacement was on there.
Yeah, that was a good spreadsheet. That was a good spreadsheet.
That was a good spreadsheet, yeah.
Where is that?
That's a good question. It's probably, we probably got it
It's in
somewhere.
the minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Pick
probably
that
got
up.
it
So I
somewhere.
had
very
a
good.
date,
But-
I did.
Yeah,
Could
but,
have been
I mean, the stuff that needed to be done within the village, came up to more than $20 million, and we were only getting $750,000. So we tried to, we listened, but we also have to take into account what, because the bridge repair itself, we could have raised taxes for that. We could have said to the taxpayers, you know what? We're not gonna do anything, we're not gonna spend any money on it, it's gonna go to the taxpayers. We chose not to because it's not the right thing to do. We, the bridge replacement, we should be saving money for that because we're on the hook for anywhere from 2.5% to 10% of that price in 2029. So, we,
And that's purely village, not village.
that's correct,
That's
that's strictly village,
That's-
that's nothing to do with the
good
town.
to point that out.
Yeah,
because a lot
that's
of people are
nothing to
confused
do with
about
the
that.
town.
The actual ARPA for us was $710,000, $116.
That's what I thought.
Okay, 17.
Thank you.
So, and I mean, as personally for me, as far as giving any money of our ARPA funds for the community center, I would never do that.
You would never do that?
Taxpayers are gonna pay that in general fund, village and town.
Correct.
So
That's
your
correct.
village taxpayers are already contributing to that. If they put any of that on the town budget, in their budget, general fund, village and town voters, taxpayers fund.
Yeah, the recreation department it's a line item in the town, and it already, it gets funded, and they take that money and they, it's for the people working the programs that work there,
Right?
and then running the
But your
programs and et
village
cetera.
taxpayers already paying for it.
Yeah, people pay taxes for that, but it's all about a
So-
collaboration, I know what you're saying, but a collaboration between the two,
It would,
and,
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
sure there'll be
that property
collaboration,
was
just-
bought for 400,000 of the 710,000, on the hope of a new facility, and now the new facility is not happening. So now it is a property, and I see the value that, it was just gonna sit there, or somebody else was gonna buy it,
No, I
or
don't
whatever,
think so.
but
I don't think so.
you don't think somebody else would have bought it?
No.
No? Oh, that's a lot of people are saying that it's an asset to somebody buying it, but, it has to.
Again, that's just my opinion. I'm just
Yeah.
one person.
But even so, it is an asset, you're correct.
Yeah.
And I think if you're gonna have any future expansion within the village for any services in the next 15, 20 years, you get the land now.
Yeah, well,
And
I
if
mean, I see
somebody
that,
else-
like,
And if
somebody else would have bought it, it would have been another gas station or something else, and that's what we have now, and that's what we're dealing with, but hopefully, you move forward and you do like the electric department over
Isn't
there,
that what it
and
was
do your
supposed to be?
extension there, but,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
our, the difference, the 310,000,
I don't think I want.
for ARPA funding, what did you, like, what so far have you guys done for infrastructure? Any of that bridge money, or,
No,
We
so
don't.
there's still some ARPA money remaining. The vast majority of it was utilized for REARC and for Weeman Lampier. They were the architect of record on next door. Of course, a lot of that becomes portable and usable because all of the work that was done over there for the evaluation of that can be used for the next iteration, whatever that is, of a project. So, for example, for the electric department, you're not starting at square one. You know pretty much everything that's in the ground and all around at this
Yeah.
point. So that's money that you won't spend again.
So how much of the 310,000 was REARC then? I saw you guys put a spreadsheet, but I thought that was only like 17,000.
Yeah, it's pretty good timing. I'm gonna now hand out the ARPA expenditures to date. So there's remaining money that was not spent. So what happened is,
I have one at home.
Weeman Lampier was approved for complex design, meaning this facility and next door, for just under 197K. There is a balance on that right now, $97,000, and that work has been suspended. The downtown scoping study, so the first version of what VHB is doing downtown construction, that's gonna start next year, 75,000, and that was set aside for the match. So remember, we got a $300,000 grant, 75,000 was a required match. We used $38,000 to buy 74 Merchants Row, the former Tessier property, where we hope to eventually get some grant funding and have 27 parking spaces for our downtown. And that's it. That's the money.
One last thing, because we go back to full circle what we started with. In order to get the charter changed, it would be up to the board to decide to change it, or would you need a petition from the public to change the, the rights to buy property with or without the vote part?
I think there would be a petition. So as a board, if you listen to the public say that, it's up to you guys to make that decision whether you want to bring that change forward. And if not, if the board doesn't decide to do that, then I think the voters can petition. I can find out that process for you, how that would work, because I don't know. I believe
I mean,
collectively as a board, they would do.
collectively as a board, we can do that,
I
but,
think we could.
you know,
Orange ballot,
Just put it on
why don't
the
we put it
ballot.
on the ballot for
That's-
town meeting day and let the voters tell us what they want?
That's the best way.
That's what I think is,
Yes.
So pose it as a question, would you like the village
yes,
trustees to
change the charter.
that
Yeah.
one specific
To
topic?
just put some
So
amendments
then,
or
if
safeguards
they
on it,
said
or change
yes,
it?
Whatever they buy,
then it
whatever
would be
buys.
drafted,
Should they
reviewed,
make words?
sent to the state, and then back to the
Better
voters.
wordsmithing
Right,
in there.
they'd have to vote again, but I mean,
But
at
that's
least
a
that
good
way
way
we
to
have,
pose the question.
yeah, we
Yeah.
pose the question and get,
Well, there's already gonna be a year wait with the legislation. Is there a way to have us, is there another vote later in the year, or I don't know.
the legislature's pretty much done for the season.
Yeah, it's back until
So-
January.
Is
It'll
it
be-
January, February when they vote?
Yeah, it'll be January, February of next year, and
So
then
if we
it'll
vote
probably
in
be,
March, then
20
you're talking the
probably be
period,
26
the next
before
spring.
Mhm.
you get to
So
a
it's
final
gonna
vote.
be- it's gonna
And
take-
while we're talking about the expansion of the board, I talked about this as well. Or, I don't know, would you then move it to 5 voting members, if it were to expand,
That's already in
or
the charter, that doesn't have to be changed, because in the charter it states 3 to 5.
3 to 5?
So it just is an internal decision.
no,
No.
it would still have to go to the voters, there would have to be a petition, or that's another thing we'd have to put on the ballot as a question.
Just ask
It
if
would
they
have
want
to
change.
be voted upon, and then it would have to be decided, because the way the charter reads is that we are voted in alternate years, so then you'd have to have either two and two, or maybe you throw a 1 year in there, or a
Probably.
2 year
We
in
have to
there,
stagger them.
and so that everyone's, staggered about.
Yeah, so I believe it would be on the ballot. You would expand, you would vote. You would not put that in effect till the next
The next-
voting cycle.
Exactly.
You would not have a village president, you would have a 5-person board.
That's what it says, all voting board.
Yeah, and you would have a chairperson, and the village president would then become a moderator, just like the town, correct?
And I think it would still probably be the same as the town, they'd elect their own chair
Yeah.
and vice chair and then
Yeah, but
continue
But
on.
Brian Savage is the town moderator who speaks during the town meetings,
But that-
so
but the
would we
difference-
not need one of those?
He's
The
basically
difference
Bill.
is we have a
know.
village, we have a management form of
Right.
government, they don't.
Right.
That's the difference.
Gotcha.
It's a big difference,
Yeah.
a huge difference.
We have a village manager that runs the village and reports to the board.
I know, but I'm speaking about Brian's elected position as the town manager, not
Right.
his full-time job as the moderator, not his full-time job as the town manager.
Oh.
Yeah,
He
he's,
wears
Yeah,
two
two
different
separate
hats.
roles.
Yeah, he's
Right.
simply just,
So-
he
Elected
simply,
as moderator.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
he reads
that's
the,
what.
and that's,
Right.
yeah, his only job is town meeting, or the information.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
would we need one of those, or we would just have Bill read the warnings? Or the
you
chair?
would have a
Chair.
chair and a vice chair.
Okay.
I would be the
Well,
chair.
that's,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But do things on November ballot, so to speak?
Earl's the
Well,
one who's typically
March.
like moderating
March,
meetings
not
and
November, it'd be March.
Brian sits there and gives
Actually,
information
it'd
and
be three
answers
things,
questions
because we would
typically.
need to change the charter to remove the village president.
so we'd have to look at the charter and,
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
back.
and
That's
we
some
have to,
research.
Yeah.
that's a research
So
thing, we
yeah.
can't put it on the ballot yet, but it's
let's
something,
Look
let's
at
table it and we'll discuss it. Do you think
Well-
do you think a couple months is enough time for research?
Yeah,
So why don't we table this discussion and we can pick it back up,
well, how about we,
June, July, August,
How
September?
about I get with you, Diane, and we figure it out and
right, because
get
this,
some information.
this line item is discussion on 124 First Street. We've now turned it to
Yeah,
Mhm.
charter change.
Yep.
So let's just
Yeah,
finish the discussion on 124, wrap that up, and then advise me to keep charter change or charter update on the agenda in a
Alright,
month or two.
yeah,
But we'll research it in the meantime and figure out what we want to do with charter.
right, so we'll address the charter in September and let's wrap up 124. Is there any more discussion, questions? Sorry, Dave, I'm taking over for you.
no, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Any more questions on 124? And then I guess other than the fact that it kind of morphed into that discussion
And
about
more,
buying and
yeah, so
selling
we're
real
gonna
estate.
separate the two of
Yeah.
them.
Okay, so we want to close down 124 discussion, and do we want to talk about the buying and selling real estate?
No, we're gonna table that
Table that as well?
discussion. Yeah,
Okay.
so we're going to finish the discussion and close the discussion on 124. And we're going to put on the agenda for September
Charter.
charter changes,
Discussion on charter.
discussion on charter changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we can work on it.
because this, even though you're going to be heavily involved in it, it should be done in open meeting and not something that's done
Yeah.
in emails or behind.
So we can research and then present what we discovered and decide.
Brian Savage is really good to reach out to, cause he told me the background information of
How
how
they change.
the Swanton town went from, the 5 to the 3 to the 5.
We used to be 5,
I was
right?
gonna say, way back, I
We did,
thought
we
they
used
were
to be 5
5.
here.
At one time, we were
Mhm.
7 and 9.
7 and 9.
Number 9.
Didn't get nothing done, did we?
I didn't know that until Ron Kilmer refreshed my memory.
So it's happened.
I don't know how Ron found it. Had to have been a long time ago.
I was here a while ago.
Oh, but he involved in history.
Oh, wait, I know that.
Yeah, that's where he picked it up.
So,
Believe that. I still-
124 charter change in specific about real estate in September.
124 is done,
Yep.
and then charter change will be picked up in September.
For the real estate buying and selling, or
Or-
for?
yeah.
All of it,
Okay.
Discuss.
all of it.
All of it. Okay.
Yep, those two specific things. I mean, specifically
Expansion
those
of
two
the board
items
and the
that we
charter
wanna
change
research.
to
Yeah.
property.
And then
Yeah.
we can
And what
discuss.
happens to the village president if we expand? If you go to 5, what happens to the village president? Yeah,
That's a good question.
alright, next.
Okay.
Item 9.
Item 9, finalize request for proposal of South River Street property.
So 6 South River is, I don't know if you knew this, it's the former site of the Hotel Riv.
No.
I'm gonna hand out 2 things. The
Yeah.
first one is the executive summary, which is 2 pages front and back of the ECA. So that's the environmental, it's the certificate. And the recommendations, it's 108 pages. So you've got 2 pages in front of you, and it essentially talks about what some of the alternatives are. So Northwest Regional Planning Commission thinks this is the appropriate time for us to send out requests for proposals to interested developers who are interested in this parcel, and then select one through an open process, identify that developer, and then work with that developer and regional planning as to how the best methodology is to put these corrective actions into play. Because as you can see on page 2 at the top, there are 4 alternatives. And it varies widely, both in cost and in practice, and the impact is significant. So say somebody wants to develop the land 6/10 of an acre, and they want to maximize it, and I'm making this up, and they want 4 units of housing, and they really want to use the entire property. That is a different path than somebody that says they want to develop it and put 2 units of housing and keep the front where the former RIV was as part, because that's going to be not disturbed. It's a different remediation at a different cost. So I agree 100% with the Northwest Regional Planning. This is the proper way to go about this. And I sent all of you this, but here is another copy. This is the request for proposal that was developed, multiple iterations working with regional planning. Heidi's to credit for most of this. And it's essentially allowing us, the village through me, to send these proposals out to identify who might be interested in developing this property. Working with them as partners in collaboration with regional planning and identifying what the next steps are to include cost.
So being devil's advocate, I don't like being told what we can do.
Who is telling us what we can do?
It sounds like regional planning is telling us we only have 4 options.
So this is the hired vendor, KAS. So these are
This
the
is
environment-
KAS?
This is KAS. This is the
Okay.
environmental scientist report
Yep.
that now has to now navigate its way through the state of Vermont channels, the normal channels. And they'll come up and they will either say, this plan looks pretty good, or we don't agree with this plan, or it needs to be modified in certain ways. Additionally, there needs to be a second level of archaeological assessment on the property. The good news is that the vast majority of this, literally up to $1 million, can be paid for through regional planning commission.
That's interesting.
Theoretically, there could be a proposed match. They haven't indicated that yet. So a lot of this, I think, are just natural steps to take in order to identify who our likely partners are and then working with them. At the end of the day, I don't think anyone's telling us what to do. I think they're giving us recommendations based on best practices.
You know you hate it when the government does
Yeah, no. No, I just, it just seems like this is continuing to drag out. I feel like the village is being punished.
Do we still even know what's in the ground there? I mean, has all the test results come back?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's nothing that really penetrated the ground. There's a lot of things that I can't pronounce that are naturally occurring. There are a lot of
Sure, yeah.
benzenes and things like
Yeah.
that, so that is what's in the ground. And the question is, what do you have to do to mitigate it? How much soil do you have to remove? And a lot of it depends on
What they're gonna do in the,
next steps.
gotcha. No, that makes sense.
It hits the ledge and kind of keeps on going.
I can't see what's on the paper, but are you guys allowed to read the 4 options aloud?
Oh, yeah.
We can post the executive summary too. We'll do that because it's just 2 pages. But yes, I don't have one in front of me. Can I handle it?
Okay, alternative
Thank you.
1, no action. Alternative 2, excavation and off-site disposal of all contaminated soil. Alternative 3, excavation and disposal of all contaminant soils on the eastern portion of the site and install engineered barriers on the western portion of the site. Alternative number 4, excavation and disposal of all contaminated soils on the eastern portion of the site and installation of physical barriers to restrict access to the western portion of the site.
What's the real difference between 3 and 4?
Clearing different portions of the property, I believe.
Well, one's installing engineered barriers and one's an installation of physical barriers.
No, yep, there you go.
Are they saying that like all of the topsoil there is contaminated and needs to be removed?
I don't think it's all of it, I think it's in certain areas.
Definitely the west and the east.
So you're talking about in front of South River Street and the portion that is up against the railroad?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's the.
Okay.
I agree with
I'm
that.
just trying to orient myself, north, south, east, west.
What about the neighboring properties?
They're not mentioned
I bet
in
the
the
railroad
remediation,
contaminated
so.
that too.
If they wanted to build something or tear something down, they'd build the same thing.
Okay, so do you have a date on this yet?
No, I think so. My recommendations to the trustees are just looking for a green light for the village to pursue the submission of this RFP to various entities to weigh in. And I would say that it's gonna take us another week to get it out, but I would allow at least 30 days for a proposal due. So give us the end of the week to put some final tweaks on this, give it 30 days for the RFPs to be due. It's not like a bid opening. These will come in, we'll stack them up, they'll come in for all of you. I would recommend that you afford the opportunity for a committee internally, including me, to kind of evaluate those, give you an executive summary, and then present them all. And you have a dialogue as to what you want to do next.
So when you're talking about an internal committee, are we talking about like maybe you, Heidi, and one of us?
Yeah.
Yeah?
How about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep what period of time do we wanna keep the proposals open for?
30 days.
Just 30 days?
So we're
Oh, you
talking 1
mean
July?
to keep the proposals, you mean once we, yeah, I think 30 days is good. I believe so. I mean, we know there's gonna be there's probably a finite amount of people that still, despite all the things that are going on, that are really gonna wanna probably participate in this, is my guess.
Okay, so you want a motion.
Yeah, you do.
You want a motion to pursue submission of this RFP to various entities. Do you want me to add anything else to it?
Not to know.
Okay,
Is that your motion?
that's my motion.
I'll second it then.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, I think we have to continue with this, and the burden is ours. If nothing had been done by us a long time ago, it would still be standing. And we'd still have a problem. Right now, I'm very disappointed that it's cost so much money. But now that we have it, I think we have a responsibility to take care of it.
What we do.
Do you need me to make a motion for the committee as well? No?
Not necessarily.
No?
I
Okay,
don't think so.
perfect. All in favor, right?
Right.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Well, sort of.
Motion carries, unanimous.
Can I add one more thing, sorry?
Absolutely.
It's PAHs for the record that are prevalent in the soil. Those are
PFAS.
polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons.
It's heating oil.
Is that real,
You,
Gene?
you can show me some of the actual compounds?
Yeah, they're right in I thought they were in the executive summary. They're not. Yeah, I can. Benzenes and other things that I can't pronounce.
I'll stop. by
Oh, they're on
sometime.
page 1 of the executive summary, right near the bottom. Hexachlorobutadiene, naphthalene. I'm chopping all these. I can't. First page.
No, you gotta sit there with your
Okay.
dictionary
Yeah.
or your Google
No,
at the time
I,
while you're reading this report.
That's the best I can do.
Bunch of.
Pentachlorophenol,
Thank you.
that's a really,
You're the
that's
scientist.
a real chemical.
Railroad chemicals,
Okay.
And the really, and the ties.
the ties,
There you go.
control it. Number 10.
Okay, so the next, like, I don't know, 5 are just my pet projects.
Yep,
So Abby at the library wants to use the bandstand for Rock and Rod, the Friendly Pirate, on July 17th from 10 to 12:30. She's going to have it open to the public. She's gonna let the rec come and the school program come as well. So we just need to give her the green light on that. So if I could have a
Sure.
motion.
Is there anybody using the park that day?
No,
Only we allow the library to use the park on the 17th for their pirate thing.
I'll second it.
motion is, you're sticking it? A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, so the next one is just, I had a constituent come up to me and ask if we were gonna do anything to clean up the Civil War monument, also known as Lady Liberty, and the Village Green. And I'm willing to do that, and I have Mr. Spalding and Jeff Domi to help me. I might need a couple more residents' assistance, but the problem I have right now is I need to know if Lady Liberty is limestone or granite, because it's going to depend on what I ask Dean to purchase to clean that.
do you guys remember the discussion about that, and that was not recommended for Mr. Spalding to do? He offered to clean it, you know, because it cleans all the stones. The material of that statue,
That's why I think it's limestone and not granite, because
I
what
think it is
Mr. Spalding uses is for granite cleaning, and I believe it's limestone. They do make a limestone cleaner, which works sort of the same way as the granite cleaner.
wasn't Joel involved with research?
No, it was,
I remember this discussion.
Ron,
it's,
Well,
Jason Barney from the
Right,
Historical
and
Society.
because it kind of was started, but then it
Yes.
stopped.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's limestone, and if what I understand is there was the use of a pressure washer on that, and it's unfortunate that because she may be limestone, that she would disintegrate under high pressure.
Yeah,
So there are
right.
gentle ways to clean her. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna get her spotless white, but I'll be able to clean some of that black off
So
her.
we should have some information on that. We can look back in our old minutes and
Okay.
See if it was ever determined what material.
I do have
Because it was
Heather.
started, but it just kind of faded.
Right, I do have Heather Lavoy from the Historical Society looking in on that as well. I would reach out to Jay, as him and I went to high school together, but he has some health issues, and I don't want to burden him with that at this point. So
Okay.
so it's just I do have the blessing of the Historical Society to clean it in a safe and gentle manner, and so that is my intention. I just wanted to bring, I wanted to bring it here. I wanted to, talk to the other trustees about it and see if we are all in agreement that she should be cleaned and we should probably clean
You've
her.
got the blessing, I'd run.
Okay.
Yeah. Pedestal's probably granite though, right?
Now the pedestal has deteriorated a lot, and
It's already starting to crack and
She's
shell
yeah.
bag.
and it might be worth having like Hoofs or Champlain come and look and see what they can do to shore it up for us. But that's a topic for another time, because that's gonna come at an expense that's more than just, a couple jars of
Yeah.
bottles of limestone
Sure,
cleaner.
sure.
So,
Yeah. And something you guys might wanna look into is you could seal it.
yeah,
Keep the
yes,
moisture out of it.
after she's clean,
There's some
yeah,
stone.
yeah.
Great. Do we need to make a motion on that?
No.
I think for information.
Be great to see it nice and cleaned up. Number 12, discuss and approve downtown block party request.
Okay, so, I did send this to Bill, so I'll have this sort of, proposal in front of you. So the downtown block party is an event that's, we're aiming to bring the community together to support the local businesses in the downtown during bridge construction. The date proposed is, July 26th from 5 to 8, with a rain date of August 8th. And we're going to do this in the village square
Your first hit was wicked, or second hit was wicked, but
and in the village
Sorry.
green.
Sorry.
And in the village
What do
green.
we have here?
And so the block party is designed to encourage community engagement, to draw residents and visitors into the downtown area, and to support local businesses by increasing foot traffic during the period of construction. The planning committee consists of myself, Darcy Benoit, Abigail Gada, and Nicole Draper. Live music will be on hand, and we've secured Secondhand Blues, which is a band by John McDonald, who was a Swanton resident. He grew up here. His wife and Troy Turner, and they're going to set up in front of the Ace Hardware lawn by the Chamber of Commerce. And I did ask Gordon for permission, which he told me I could. We're gonna have face painting done by the Arts Council. The library is gonna have a craft in the park. We're looking for community partners to set up booths in the park itself. We're gonna have some lawn games from the rec, like cornhole and other games like that. We are requesting funding from the enhancement project for our bounce house for the kids, because we wanna have a really friendly family atmosphere. So we're gonna ask businesses to stay open during the event to increase the visitors' traffic. And we're also asking local businesses to offer specials and promotions to attract attendees. The Chamber of Commerce is gonna act as a cooling station. And the Chamber also will have portalettes on site from the car show. So this is the request, and I'm going to abstain from this vote. This is a request to you two. Request the use of the park and the square, which will need to be blocked off as seen in the diagrams that I provided to you, to allow the traffic to go down Canada Street and to come up Church Street by the park, so we have outlets. So I need a motion for the use of the park and the square. And then the next thing, I need approval to purchase and display 2 banners. One banner which would be located in the green space, I don't know what to call it, but where Gordon put that park in, over on the corner of Merchants Row and North River. So we'd wanna put one there.
Yeah.
And then we would wanna put one, I would probably say over by the stump dump on 7 before John's Bridge, since that's our property, we wouldn't have to ask anybody for permission.
Yep.
And I would like the banners to say Swanton Downtown is open for business, and join us for the downtown block party 7/26 by 5 to 8 p.m. featuring Secondhand Blues.
So moved.
Can I weigh in, please?
Yeah,
Right, discussion.
Yeah, thank you. I had a conversation with Brian Savage today. The town has money for a downtown celebration, sitting in a pool of money that is actually available for this type of purpose. So he asked me to mention that, so that instead of, because that would be a pool of money that was paid for by both village and town taxpayers already,
Right,
that is designed for a specific purpose that could be utilized for this very request.
that'd be perfect.
So I think that is an alternative, and perhaps if that's not approved for banners, there won't be much delay to the next meeting for them, then the trustees could provide that. But I believe he feels that the select board has money
Set
available
aside.
for that purpose.
Okay, so what you're saying is I should take my banner request to the town
Because they have a pool of
because they
money.
have a pool of money. So
Yes.
all I need is approval for the park and the square.
Yes.
Okay.
And from the public works point of view, we got this. This is a piece of cake.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I'll amend my motion to, I don't wanna say allow.
Well, at this point, you only have to
To
make
use.
a motion to approve use of the park and square.
I'm sorry.
yes, because I,
Make a
Your
motion.
motion was, you gave approval to use the park and square, so we're good, you don't need to amend it.
Oh, okay,
that's
Yep, and then
sufficient.
Eugene seconded.
yep,
I think so too. I'll second that. Again.
okay.
That's
Motion,
a wonderful idea.
it is.
This sounds like fun.
Yeah, everybody's wanting to know what no trucks downtown would be like. Here
Can
go.
we get fancier with the motion though?
Absolutely.
Can we go prospective here and say that in the event, the motion to include, in the event that this is not funded by the Swanton Select Board, the trustees vote to approve the purchase of these banners,
Yes,
so that we don't have to wait.
yes, please.
So I will amend my motion. I will make the
just got the
motion
look.
that we
I
approve
got
the
it.
downtown block party and,
We're good.
Figure it out.
all right.
Have you got it? Have you got enough information?
So,
I do right here.
so just further discussion points, just of budget funding requests. So we got the face painting and the band is gonna be paid for by the Arts Council. The craft supplies are provided by the library, the bounce house. We're seeking approval from SEP. But if they don't have the funds, it sounds like we could probably tap into the town's funds for that. Lawn games by the rec, leveraging existing sources that they already have. So, basically, yeah, if the town won't do the banners, then we'll cover them
Somehow.
somehow.
How much does the park account the banner cost?
About
Should
five.
we
Size
add
and
a-
wordage, I think.
Vista, I
Yeah.
think they used Vista.
I think they did, but I think we were gonna reach out to Matt Walker to kind of keep it
Be
local.
nice to have local business.
Yeah, like $150.
Yeah.
That's what we charge, that's what we get for the car show.
I will.
What kind of booths are you looking for, like just vendors?
So no, so we're not doing any vendors. The only thing that we are going to have paid for in the park is that the Star Hose or the Lady Auxiliary is gonna do a lemonade stand. Everything else, we're looking like for community partners to kind of get, information out on what they offer. So like, Abby's gonna reach out to the Abenaki, of the Missisquoi to see if they'll come into the park to talk about Circle of Courage and their food shelf. I've reached out to Friends of Duke to see if they have a petting dog, like a dog petting thing in the park, which maybe will help them have some adoptions.
Check into Age Well, they probably want.
Right, I reach out to Laura Need. I believe actually Nicole was going to do that because she has contacts with Age Well. The rec's gonna be there, we want with SEP to be there, SEC to be there, so community partners like that, just to be out there. So that the people who come out know what resources they have available to them.
SEP's next meeting is the first Thursday of July, which is 4th of July, so that's likely gonna be changed to the 11th. But that's only a week before your event, so if you guys wanted to ask, we've done votes via email.
Right, I believe.
So just reach out to Betsy Fournier,
Yeah, I
Crystal Lampman, and,
I think Darcy was gonna reach out to Betsy.
okay.
So I do believe that was on one of their radars. So yeah, so vote.
Okay, ready? So we had a first and a second on a motion to use the park with,
And the square.
in square.
Yeah.
Okay. With a backup caveat for some funding if the select board doesn't approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Motion carried, 2-1.
No, I abstain. No vote.
2 no. 2 to no.
Two little guys.
2 in black. Number 13, discussion of electrical outlets on Merchants Row.
Okay, so I know this has been brought up to me, I believe it's been brought up to Adam too. There's some merchants who would like to know how they can get electrical outlets to the sidewalk outside, and is that our responsibility or is it their landlord's responsibility? And what do they need to do to get that to happen so that they can decorate and have things outside on the sidewalk?
Whatever.
All right, so I've had part of this discussion with some of the property owners, and it's my understanding that the sidewalk we own, and that's it. Everything from there belongs to the property owners. So that being said, I guess electrical outlets would need to be the responsibility of the property owners if they're going to be attached to the ceilings there.
Or, yeah, either
Yeah.
ceilings or like on the outside of the building, and so that was my thought, was that since they wanted to have them on the outside of the building or in the overhead.
On the
over
piers,
the
you mean, like
overhang.
on the outside?
No, like where the glass windows are, like under the glass windows,
Oh.
do you know?
Right in front, on the backside of the storefront.
Yeah, so, but still, that's the building proper.
It is.
And it's not the sidewalk, so even though it goes outside to the sidewalk, it's not the sidewalk, so therefore it should not be our responsibility. Am I reading that right?
That is my understanding, yeah. That's
Sounds
property
reasonable.
owner.
Sir,
And if they wanna advertise, let them do it.
Yeah.
Mr. Manager, is that your take as well?
It's,
Yeah, I'd like to know once and for all. So VHB is our architect or engineer of record, and their attorneys in doing their due diligence right now are trying to ascertain through all of the deeds, because they're doing it anyway, and I've seen the deeds, and convoluted is a appropriate description. I think that's what they're gonna find as well, but we would like some proof through legal research and once and for all who owns what.
To get it done.
Right.
Yes.
As
Well-
well as the sidewalks too, for maintenance purposes.
That's the main issue in my mind.
So, but picture that, if this is the sidewalk, somehow, the village might own this, yet somehow we do not own what was built above it.
That's strange,
It defies common sense.
but it was done.
There you go.
yeah. And then, of course, do we have ownership of electrical down there? Do we pay for the lights outside the building? Do we, I mean, because that would be the big thing, is who owns the electrical services
I
down
don't
the
think
building, right?
anybody knows. I think the structure above the sidewalk is truly that right now of the
No
The
man's-
owners.
the owners.
Neil might know.
Neil might.
If you wanna clean this up in the future, if the sidewalk is truly ours, I would propose entertaining a discussion with those building owners to
Agreed.
sell back or
Yeah.
give that sidewalk portion back to that owner.
Agreed.
So they can actually own what is physically under what they already own.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just-
Yeah,
That's another option.
but the electrical thing, I would think would fall into whoever owns whatever meter attached to whatever structure.
That's what I'm thinking.
And I think that's where it's gonna end up. Because otherwise, how could we own electrical outlets that are attached to a service that we don't own?
Right.
That's right.
So I
Right.
think that's where it's gonna,
Right.
that would, where
Yeah.
it would fall.
Are they worried about the cost of the electricity with our low rates here and a
No,
little
they all pay
sign?
their own.
No,
bill.
they just
Yeah.
put outlets on the ceiling to hang Christmas lights and things like that, right? That's what the
I mean-
request is.
I
That's my
wouldn't,
understanding.
I wouldn't stop them. Right now.
I'm surprised there isn't anything out there now. There's a lot of electrical conduits running all over the place in the
Right.
ceiling.
Well, they recently
Seems so.
put in overheads.
We put in
I
new
think so.
LED overheads.
Yeah, and that's
6,
what,
8 years ago?
not even that. I don't think, maybe 3 to
Perhaps.
5.
Right.
I think it was just
It wasn't that long
before.
ago. The
Yeah.
electrician
Before that
just
thing
put it
hit.
up last time.
Because we were being good neighbors.
Right, exactly.
So we put those in?
You seem so grumpy.
I think we may have. I think we may have
We were
done
being
it as a
good
favor.
neighbors and trying to help these people out.
Right.
And our electric department had the personnel to do it.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So why not do it? It's good for the community.
Yep.
Do it.
I mean,
It'll look nice and bright.
And maybe
better.
what we need to do is find out who pays the electricity for the lights.
They do, each individual store.
Each individual store does,
They
yeah,
have their
so
own meter. I believe they do.
if you come off, some conduit in, come off with a couple of outlets,
Well, the old copper lights are still there, but they probably use those same circuits. Right. Bypass them, put the new ones in.
could be.
God, I hope so.
So, but I think we run with Bill's idea and get the legalese,
Yeah.
get the legalese done, and then that way, once and for all, we know exactly what's going on.
Do we need a motion for this?
No.
No, it was just a discussion, just a discussion.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, make it look nice. Number 14, appoint new Transportation Advisory Committee representative.
So that would be me. Reg Beliveau, on his own volition, has too much on his plate right now, so sent out an email saying that he regrets, but he must resign from his position on the Transportation Advisory Committee. We would like, from my point of view, the perfect person for this is Heidi Bridge-Valenta, who is integrated in all of these projects. She should be the primary. If there is not a trustee who wants to be the backup, then I am willing to be the secondary for
For me, at this time, I'd prefer you be secondary.
that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
makes sense.
So it would be a motion to appoint Heidi Bridge-Valenta as the new Transportation Advisory Committee representative, with me as the alternative.
I'll make that motion.
Sorry.
I'll second the motion, but I have a question.
Yes.
Does she mind doing it?
No,
Okay.
this is, so she is literally so integrated in all of these projects that,
Okay.
It
this
makes
is,
sense.
it makes a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
deal
She
of
does
sense.
to me,
She's
but I
dealing
wanna
with it.
make sure. she
Who is
does.
the Transportation Advisory Committee ran
It's-
under?
Regional Planning Commission. Sorry, good question.
Is this any correlation to what Amy Brewer's doing? With the
No.
transportation, is that separate?
No, that's,
Okay.
End of discussion?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Village manager update, Bill.
okay, got just a few things.
6 pages?
No, just a couple of pages.
There's a
We'll
lot of
get
highlights there.
through.
2 pages?
So, FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, came and did a, first one in a very long time, a physical inspection of our hydroelectric facility in Highgate on May 16th. We don't have the full assessment, we'll get that in a while, but based on the walkthrough, myself and Dan Chevalier, I think it went incredibly well. So, again, this is not the cyber, this is not the dam safety, this is the physical security, the rattling the doors, the fences, cameras, all physical security related things. So that is done for the foreseeable future. The next one is June 17th. Again, I met with Brian Savage today. Our trustees, this is an advance notice, are being invited to attend their select board meeting. And I believe what they'll call a joint session, but more to follow on that. Just reserve the date for now,
June 17th.
June 17th, to discuss economic development and the support of downtown and other related topics. Again, it'll get more granular than that. I don't have the details right now. It's more of just hold the date. Hydro. So work is progressing nicely on the manufacturing of that control ring for Unit 1, which remains down. Work begins tomorrow. Workers are on site tomorrow, May 29th, to install the repaired lower guide bearing for Unit 2. It'll take 2 to 3 days, and Unit 2 will be back online. So we'll be just down Unit 1 at that point. And Unit 2 is critically important as you do min flows along with Unit 5 in the summer months. The river crossing, again, I believe we are absolutely locked in for a June 24th start date. They will start to pre-stage things at the boat launch on Foundry Street prior to that, probably a week before. So the timing should be pretty good. All of the material, the heavy equipment, the piping is at GW Tetros facility now. It will be on site, ready to go in advance of the bridge closure. So that's good news. There's still gonna be some work around on both sides. That's gonna be a little bit of an inconvenience. It makes me think that perhaps GW Tetros should have bid both. And
Yeah,
tried to
exactly.
the bridge as well.
Yeah, right.
Good call.
Next up, any questions so far?
No, sir.
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Going back to the hydro,
Yes.
Yeah.
how's our production for the month that we're doing Runner River?
It's been great. Of course, max is not 9 or close to it. It's more with the unit 1 and 2 down, it's more like 7.5-ish. We've been about 6.7. Even last night's rain is good. So for run-of-river timing, I don't have the figures for this month. I believe we're gonna be ahead of last year.
Nice.
And I think we're on pace for last year.
Yep.
Rain is phenomenal for us.
Yeah,
It's really good.
yep,
Other questions?
that's it, thank you.
The Northern Forest Canoe Trail, we talked about that. So Trustee Kelleher, myself, Heidi Rich Valenta went down on May 22nd to meet with Alex Delhagen. This is a continuation again of past conversations. So they're looking for a couple of tent site pads to be kind of in front. If you're walking down and the tennis courts are right in front of you, there's those 3 very large trees on the left toward the water. Nice flat site, perfect area for 2 tent pads. So they're gonna go back and explore it. They'll come up with something, probably not till the fall, and they'll bring something to the trustees for approval at that time. They're gonna wanna clean up the access on the VFW side and do a couple of other enhancements, but I think it's nothing but positive for us. And you were there, I don't wanna speak on behalf of.
No, I absolutely thought it was, and you know, he seemed very excited about the possibility.
Yeah.
So, and it was all work that they said that they were going to do themselves. So we really had no, aside from putting a porta potty out there,
Right.
we really have nothing that's going to come out of pocket on that. So.
So no action required yet. I think they move at a designed pace, which is not expedient. So I thought they would ask for something right away. No, fall is good for installation probably next year. Village center designation. So it's that time once again. If you see the map on my wall, you've heard it. There's a downtown village designation for the village of Swanton. It really, for our point of view, it doesn't do a lot for us. What it does is establishes a connection for available grants, reduced fees, tax incentives, and things like that for those folks that are included in the downtown business area. I'm looking to expand that based on a request from the Sheldon House. And while speaking with folks from the state of Vermont, we might want to extend that designation past that to include Veterans Memorial Park and that side. So it adds a little bit of property. It enhances that area. Here's the interesting part. You are the village trustees, as you know. We don't have our own planning structure. So we actually have to bring this in front of Swanton Town Planning, and the Swanton Select Board are the body that authorizes this happen, or not. So despite this being a village designation in the village of Swanton, the village trustees technically have no say. You have input, but next steps for this are myself and Heidi will go in front of the planning commission to present this.
It's just defining the area.
That's all
town
it is.
plan.
That's all it is. And
Okay.
it gives, here's what's at stake for the Sheldon House, who have a lot of grants and they're trying to improve that property and do some development there. They're literally maybe $50,000-$60,000 short. If they're in this area, they qualify for tax incentives and credits, and they'll be able to meet that criteria. They'll close that gap, and it's advantageous for us to support that.
Yep.
Questions reference that, much more to follow, but that's just the first step.
Oh,
Our hydro internship interviews are at MVU tomorrow. So myself and Dan Chevalier will join Richard Barwin and Dan Palmer, which is pretty cool. You're a high school senior, you're coming in to be interviewed for an internship in front of 4 people. It's kind of real life. It's a great experience for them. We did it last year.
Yep.
They're after Husky took a few candidates away for their internship. We're down to 2, so we'll interview 2, select 1. And again, I think it's a great program, and we thank Attorney Paul Nolan for jumpstarting that with his donation again this year of $2,500.
I didn't know he did that.
He did it last year and he wants to do it every single year.
Oh, he does?
He does.
I didn't realize that.
Nice.
And, you know, it's, the young man who did it last year was able to, same thing will happen this year, to spend at least one day with every department. And that young man is going to lineman school with the hope of one day of coming back and actually working for Swan Electric.
Very
So
cool.
That's why
it
we
comes,
do it.
it comes full
Very
circle.
cool.
Stormwater, Jones Court. We held a public meeting here on Wednesday, May 15th, and we met with 5 or 6 in the room. Trustee Paxman was there, and 5 or 6 online. So we formally acknowledge the fact that we own stormwater requirements in Jones Court, and we have since 1998. And that's formally in writing from the village trustees in communication to them. We have taken the first steps, which is to meet the requirements, the legal requirements for the state of Vermont 3-acre rule. We have a $49,999 grant. We have retained Watershed Consulting, Andres Terizo, and we are doing all of the things that we should be to include a communication with Jones Court. And just so you see what they've gotten, this is a handout for all of you that you can keep. So they have all this correspondence, and I think we're in a position where the next steps are determining exactly what is found and what might be
Just for information.
the final result. So Trustee Paxman, did you get this in the mail yet? Did you get a copy of
I
this?
have not.
Okay. We should research that if the people in front of that development were included in that list. Just help me remember that, please.
Yeah, and again, just for public's record, I think the state is going after this the wrong direction. They wanna solve a problem that, in my opinion, is not a problem. They wanna solve stormwater, they need to solve groundwater first. You solve groundwater, you solve stormwater. So,
Really mostly just concerned the discharge,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So, you know, they're talking all sorts of things. You know, there's no specifics at this point, but, you know, you go back to the early 60s when the interstate was built and cattails started showing up at the bottom of the off-ramp, and that's when they decided, oh, look, a wetland, you know? But it was a self-made wetland, not natural. And, you know, when Taylor Drive was built, when Jones Court was built, Lavoie Avenue, brooks were diverted, and, you know, over time, the brooks have probably gone back trying to be where they used to be. So I strongly believe they need to deal with groundwater, not stormwater. So, drain the swamp.
I think we're heading in the right direction in terms of our responsibilities. I think we've met them, we've acknowledged that, we've had these meetings, we've sent this communication, this entire packet went out to everybody that's on the list on the back. So that's a good question, Trustee Paxman. If you're not listed on that, they probably didn't get sent to you.
He's not.
Or
Well,
anybody
again,
in the front.
I'm on Spring Street, so.
You are. So it impacts you, but you're technically not part of the
Jones Court Development.
Jones Court development, so, yeah, okay, Yep. yes. Any questions, reference that. This is gonna be a long haul, so once we do this initial research through Watershed Consulting, and a permit is issued, you have 5 years for a solution. And during that time, we hope that there will be funding available through the state of Vermont to help implement that solution. Side note, because I can't recall if I said it last time we were here, we had another sealed bid opening for stormwater for 121st Street here. 0. Nobody.
0 bids.
0 bids. So we are now soliciting, after 2 strikeouts of 0 bids, we are soliciting bids from known vendors who might have an interest. We have 5 years, so we can put it on hold. The fear is that it's a balance, right? You think there could be, you could have a crystal ball and there could be funding for a portion of it down the road. Do cost outweigh waiting? So we were hoping to get a very reasonable bid and fix the problem once and for all and pass state requirements. But that remains.
Does the state know that we've struck out twice? Or
Well,
got 2 strikes?
No, I mean, the state, we have checked the box and we filed, and we're in good graces because we're doing the same thing here. $49,000 grant to mitigate the stormwater here. So we're not the only, every community in the state of Vermont is in the same exact boat that we are. Some far worse than we are. We have 2, Jones Court and 121st Street. That's it. There's communities with hundreds of them. So, well, that's an exaggeration. Dozens of them. Any other questions on that?
No, sir.
There's a little thing, B6 bridge update. As you know, we're closing that thing down. As of today, received a communication from Dirt Tech. They are almost positive that they will start on the first allowable date. It's July 8th. I have a lot of dates in my head, but I believe that's correct. They will confirm that 3 weeks in advance, and that will give us enough notice. So what's happening behind the scenes, as you know, Public Works, they really have taken the responsibility of saving us over $100,000 initially, but we will spend some of that. We just ordered all of the signed packages. We're in the process of finalizing the message boards. DigSafe, Diane put an email or a Facebook posting out today. DigSafe is doing the route, and then we'll work and we'll knock on every door that we can to personally identify areas where in the right of way we're placing signs, placards, whatever it is. So we have that communication. So hopefully people understand that this is fun for nobody. It is the best case scenario and must be done, and we're trying to do it in the quickest and most efficient and effective way possible.
Question.
Yes,
So assuming they start July 8th,
20 days.
20 days,
Then they get penalized heavily.
right? So if they get done in 14,
20 days or working
Yeah, that's a fair
20
question. I'd
business
have to
days?
research it. I thought it was 20 days, but I might
I
be mistaken.
think you were, I think I meant, I
think it's
thought you
20
had
days.
said 20 regular days.
days. So, and that's why.
Because
I'm
again,
asking,
I mean, that,
because it's a
if
date.
they finish on the 22nd, what happens to the block party?
Exactly. Now we have a problem.
And we'll have a celebration. I believe, based upon the fact that you have to have certain timelines and milestones with the cement, even the rapid set, it's not gonna be done before 18 to 20 days is my guess. And again, we have entered into a contract for an inspector who knows what they're doing to inspect that work on a daily basis. So that was a good find.
Yep.
But that's we are on our way. It's just this is going to be an incredible amount of work for our public works team and honestly our entire team, because everybody works together so closely, and you're going to see a lot of people doing double and triple duty on this project. Any questions in reference to that?
No.
We're almost there, only 100 more things.
Can I ask a question? Do you guys have any actual like traffic control of people, or is it just signage?
It's primarily signage, so we have the responsibility of signage for the entire works, and the signs were $14,000 that we will own, that we have to put up, but we will own them forever, and they
Yeah.
can be used for other projects, and 14,000 plus all of the other responsibilities it's just so beneficial for us because they knocked $110,000 off the contract by us doing it ourselves. So it is, but we have to do a continual loop to ensure that the message boards are working, the signs aren't blocked, obstructed in any way, didn't get blown down. Most of them are actually fixed signs, so it shouldn't be much of a problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Stake in the ground thing.
Yes, yeah, official signs. Okay, next one's a big one. It's hard to read this. You're gonna get 2
Why is it so small?
because there's a lot of data in it, but I know you all can see it.
All right.
you're gonna get two things. This is the wastewater facility upgrade, and this is a reflection, and I gotta be careful with the language here. This is the apparent low bidder. It comes with a qualification from Aldrich and Elliott, our engineers, that they still have to vet. So you're gonna get 2 pages. The first one is the 4 bids, the engineer's estimate, what they thought it was gonna come in at, and then Kingsbury, Penta, Negley and Chase, and PC Construction. This will be posted on our website eventually, on our Facebook, but again, this is the apparent low bidder. The language is important. They gotta go fine tooth comb through all the documents to make sure that the bidders meet all of the requirements.
So A&E is doing that.
A&E is doing that, correct. So that's the first hard-to-read document. Kingsbury Company Corporation is the apparent low bidder. So there are a total of all base bids and add alternates, $6,821,785.90.
Okay.
Then what you have on the other spreadsheet that you can read is the total project cost summary using that apparent low bidder of Kingsbury Construction, all of the total project costs, which add up to, and I want to add the important difference. We are going to go, as long as you approve it, and there will be a motion in front of you when we finalize this. We're not there yet. This is just the preliminary. The total estimated bid is either with a bid alternate or without the bid alternate. The bid alternate is quite simple. It adds a 4th Blue Pro filter to the system, which we would be absolutely foolish not to take advantage of at the time of construction. So that is that total estimated cost with bid alternate, $8,396,865.20. Everything that you see below
There it is.
pending the state approval process. So you see what is anticipated subsidy and grants, totaling $2.8 million. So here is the great news. We have a bond capacity of $8 million. We have an uncommitted bond capacity of over $2.4 million. There's always going to be change orders. There's going to be unforeseen circumstances that happen, but we have $2.4 million in which to safely complete this project with the allocated bond amount.
That's really pretty good.
That's
is.
really good, actually.
Very good.
It's very good news. So again, this, I can't say it enough. He stressed it on the phone on our conference call today that apparent low bidder, pending final research. And what'll happen is at some point, there will be a contract that will come in for a motion to approve with this corporation. Any questions in reference to wastewater?
No, sir.
Okay, hang in there, we're almost there. Merchants Row, we should receive the handicap ramp for the left side of Merchants Row later this week. The installation, if it comes in on time, pending weather, will happen either next week or the week after. So all of those things that the left side of Merchants Row in particular, we're looking for enhanced lighting, railings, handicap parking signs or spaces, and now the handicap accessible ramp, we're making progress. And this is,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is over by Renee's.
Yeah.
Yes.
correct,
Yep.
Karen's hair side. Yep.
Karen. Judy.
Any questions in reference to that?
No, sir.
The last is, I spoke very briefly last time about the training that we're hosting here on July 18th for all workers, 2 hours with Karen Stackpole, that highly respected attorney, Respect in the Workplace. The cost of that was $2,750. We have now officially been awarded a grant of $2,500 to that. So we will have to pay $250 spread amongst all departments. So it's basically very good training for the super low cost of nearly free.
Yeah,
So that's
Great
good
job.
news.
great job.
That's all I have.
For the public, this training is for how to kind of get along with people.
So it used to be, in the old days, it was called sexual harassment training.
Yep.
Now it's more respect in the workplace, because it
Yes.
involves a lot more than just sexual harassment. So there is none better than Karen Stackpole at delivering this type of training. She's exceptional.
Just so the public will know.
Yes.
Karen who?
It's Karen Stackpole, Stack Pole.
Is that the end of your report?
That's the end.
How long is the training?
2 hours.
2 hours?
Yep.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Number 16, any other necessary business?
Just a couple of updates. I want to thank everybody for coming out to the Memorial Day parade. The weather was a little bit hit or miss to begin with, but the good Lord smiled on us when the time was right. So, you know, and the turnout was phenomenal. There was a lot of people in the park for the final part of the event. You know, thank you to Swanton Fire for all the work that they put into getting this ready, from the rolling roadblocks to participation to the free barbecue. Thank you to the folks who donated money, you know, for the free barbecue.
Thank you, Command Sergeant Major Digby, for
Yep.
his beautiful speech.
Absolutely. You know, the VFW, the veterans, the auxiliary, everybody who took part in it. Just a phenomenal time. The folks who were in the parade was great.
It was great.
The band?
The band, yeah, everybody. I mean, it was just a phenomenal parade. We were literally done in 1 hour. Everything was done in 1 hour, you know, and everybody had a great meal after. And also a shout out to the MVU Girls High School team for coming out and helping with Flags for Veterans this year. Just a tremendous amount of support from them, huge, very huge.
They had a great time. They learned a lot.
Yep.
They looked at the names. They really, it was impactful. I'm gonna try to get the athletic director to not schedule games on that date every year and make it an annual thing.
Yeah,
And I think that's,
it's
would be good for
very,
them.
it's very humbling when you know, when you see 150 flags sitting there and you wonder, you know, about each person. You know, not just those that have, you know, continued to serve that are sponsored, but, you know, people like my dad and my brother who served, and, you know, those who have gone before us. It's a very humbling experience.
It is.
You know, I'm proud to be part of that. I really am. It means a lot to me to be part of it, so.
I think they got it done in about an hour too.
You could be
Just
kidding.
about.
Hour and 20 minutes, we were done.
That's pretty quick.
That's really good.
Well,
Drilling holes
there
and
were
everything.
16, well, including coaches, there were 20.
Well, that makes a big difference.
Well done.
Really does.
So, but, yeah, no, I want to thank everybody. Please enjoy the flag display. They will be coming down Saturday, unless it's raining, in which case it'll be Sunday.
Should be good weather.
Should be good weather.
Yeah.
So, but, if anybody wants to come out and help wrap things up and get them put away, the more the merrier.
What time on Saturday?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
So,
Car show.
yeah, car show's still planned. Still planned, July 27th. It's not gonna rain that day.
Bingo. And I just have a Corn Fest sign up at the rec. There's 5K on the morning of the Corn Fest on August 10th, and I asked little Gary to help. He's gonna bring his jump bag, and we're gonna take that, and so I have his support. He's volunteering, so I just wanted to clue you in on that.
Yep.
And
And you're gonna make arrangements to get the,
I did with Dan
Okay, good.
earlier, or Chief earlier, so we're good with that. And I think that's all I have.
Big shout out for the Abenaki powwow.
Absolutely.
Return of that after 10 years. That was really fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and they had great weather.
Also on that note, the Abenaki, the Missisquoi has on Facebook, they have a volunteer form that you can fill out if you wish to help them with various, bringing elders to vote or helping with the powwow for next year. It's just like a thing you can fill out, that's on their webpage that,
Food shelf.
yeah, the food shelf is one of them, all the various activities that they have, and so I just recommend that if you're willing to, give them a hand, that you fill that out, and you can, when I filled it out, you can only pick like one thing, but Felicia fixed it, so now you can pick various things.
Any other business?
I'm okay.
Everybody's okay?
We'll do so.
All right. Executive session next.
Alright, I move that we enter into executive session for the trustees to receive confidential personnel information for which the premature disclosure of to the general public would clearly place the trustees or others at a substantial disadvantage.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
There
There's
will
nothing-
not be any,
No action.
no action taken after this.
That's my question, thank you.
Okay.